So last week, Lucid stock was down almost 15%. And it does look as if now, having broken the support level of 228, it may be heading down to the next support level of $1.93. So in this video, I'm going to look at last week's price action and offer a future price prediction for this interesting EV stock. Let's take a look. Now, if you find value in my analysis of Lucid stock or other stocks on my channel, you may also find value in my trading short course. If you want to check it out, go to davidblewett.com/6-step strategy. And for the month of June, I've got a special offer. Enter the code June20 at checkout to get 20% off. I'll leave a link in the description below. Check it out. So in my last video, I talked about Lucid stock being in a flag pattern. And we know from technical analysis, when price gets compressed into a flag, it's either going to break out to the upside or the downside. Now, for Lucid stock, based on last week's price action, it has broken out to the downside, breaking that key level of $2.28. So, a bearish week last week for Lucid stock, and it fell almost 15% in a week, which is a big drop. It looks as if now price is more likely to head down towards this key level here of $1.98 over the next 2 to 4 weeks. And if we zoom out on the chart for Lucid, we can confirm it is in a long-term downtrend. So this short-term move to the downside is conforming with the stronger, longer-term trend. Now, in previous months, there has been some positive moves for Lucid stock. When it hit that support level of 193 back in November 2024, it had a surge. Buyers came back in and saw value at this level, and the price did take off for a number of weeks, moving up to the price peak around about $3.60 before the sellers came back in and pushed the price back down. It found some short-term support at 260. Buyers came back in, pushed the price back up to create this double top pattern between January 25 and February 25 before a heavy sell-off took the price back down to this low here of almost $2. Now, since that time, price has been moving up steadily for Lucid stock, suggesting there is this short-term counter trend moving up towards the underside of this long-term trend line. But it does look as if now the buying has run out and the sellers have taken over. Price peaked here 2 weeks ago around about $3. Didn't quite get to $3.10, which would have touched the underside of the trend line. And last week saw heavy selling pressure with a 15% drop overall. And price last week fell through this key level of 229. So now it does look as if the probability is price will fall further. Potentially the next level of support is this key level here of $1.92. Now, it's possible this week price might have another big red bar and it might fall into that level almost immediately and find support. However, if we look on the daily chart, there is perhaps a short-term level of support around about this level here of around $2. If we look at the daily chart and the price action about 5 weeks ago, you can see price found support during Friday's session on April the 4th. And there was a low there of around about $2. And also price did trade sideways during the month of March. So it looks as if price may fall into $2 and find some temporary support. So I'm going to mark that up. So you can see on screen I've marked up that level of around $2 with the dashed line, just to indicate that that is a support level on the daily chart. I normally use a solid line for support lines on the weekly. So it's fallen through 228, so the likelihood is now it's going to fall further. It might find short-term support at $2 before moving up once again to challenge this level of 228. We might get something like this over the next few weeks. Price may fall further, find support around this level of $2 before buyers come back in, seeing value at this new price, and then potentially price reverses and trades back up to 228. It might find resistance there and get rejected and once again come back down. And on the next occasion, it might trade back down to find support at 193. This is a possible scenario if this $2 level offers support. Now, the other bearish scenario is that Lucid falls through this $2 level almost immediately next week. And so it falls through $2, finds support around about 193. There's a brief rally coming back up towards the $2 level, or even 228, before it falls away once again. So it's either going to come back up and find resistance here or here before falling away and potentially falling through this level here of 193. So this is a real possibility over the next few weeks. And looking on the chart at the big picture, you can see that if price falls through this level here of 193, there is no more levels below that. It would be making a new all-time low. So very bearish for Lucid stock. And of course, making a new all-time low, it is a very, very high risk time to be considering buying this stock because we simply don't know where price is going to stop falling. So based on the current price on the chart, we just don't know when Lucid is going to find support. It's possible that the all-time low of 193 is the bottom and price falls into here and buyers come back in seeing tremendous value at this price and then price starts to move up. That's definitely possible. That could be the bottom, but we just don't know. It's impossible to know when the bottom is until price moves up from that bottom mark and starts to create higher lows. Now, when price is trading at these all-time lows, it is possible that price might start to move sideways for a number of months as the buyers and sellers battle it out for domination. So we might see price action like this. It's possible that price might trade between these two levels of the all-time low of 193 and this level here of 228 or thereabouts. And it could do that for a number of months as it potentially consolidates before starting to move up. So as a long-term investor, it's always high risk to think about buying stocks when they're trading around their all-time lows. There's always more risk to the downside, but also there's risk of buying into the stock at low levels and then your money being stuck just going sideways for months or even years. It's always better to wait for confirmation that the bottom is in, price is starting to move up, and you can confirm that by the creation of higher highs and higher lows. In other words, there's a short to medium term trend forming for the stock, proving that the low is in and now it's starting to move to the upside. So effectively, we want to see something like this. You'd want to see price break above 228. That's the first thing to give any indication that buyers are coming back in. Then after an initial move, perhaps towards $3, then you want to see a test. You want to see what the sellers have got. Any buyers who bought down this area here would now be in profit, so they might sell. If there's too much selling, price is going to fall back down. It needs to hold really above 230 to show that the buyers are in control, and from there continue to move up to this level here around 360. And I think long term, for a long-term buy for Lucid stock, you really want price to break above 360 or even $4 to have confirmation it's moving up. So it might break through here and come back down and test 360. And the reason I'm suggesting you may want to wait for price action to clear this level here, 440 or even $6, it's because by entering at these levels, you're clearing out all this price action here. You're basically removing the risk that price might continue to trade within these parameters or even move lower. So effectively, once it gets above this section here, there's a much higher probability that it's going to keep moving up. And you need to see the creation of these higher peaks and higher lows. Effectively, it's proving that the buyers are in control. And every time the sellers come in to try and take the price lower, if they get rejected, there's support at higher price levels, which prove the buyers are in control and price is more likely to move higher. So right now, overall, Lucid stock had a bearish week last week, and we must expect next week to be bearish also. we might get a test of this level around about $2. If it breaks that, it's more than likely heading down to the all-time low of 193. And from there, it's high-risk territory. So if you're thinking about investing in Lucid stock right now, it's very high risk. Wait for more confirmation that price is moving up. Thanks for watching.